It's the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving. We're setting up shop, so pop open the cooler, pull up a seat.
Who wants to have some fun?
Let's talk some pigskin. From the Score Sports Closet, it's the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show.
Oh, wake up. Here we go. Let's get this tailgate party started, everybody. Welcome in to the Score Sports Closet as we get your day off and rolling here on The Score. 92.3 FM and 1490 AM, along with Knight Jarecki. I am Joey Keeran. We're a little bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after what was a late night last night up in Eugene for a Thursday night. Today could be off the rails to begin with. We never know. But welcome into the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show presented by BTB Moving. It's like, it's like when college game day comes to town and you got to get up and start your tailgating at 6 o'clock in the morning here on the West Coast. It's like,
Joey,
here we go,
Joey,
man.
I hate to break it to you. On the West Coast, if you're hosting college game day, it's earlier than 6 a.m.
I didn't say we were hosting college game day. I was just thinking more as a fan going to the event.
Yeah, but dude, I went to college game day 2 years ago.
I've been.
I guess maybe I had a different experience as a student, but 3 a.m. 3 a.m.
Oh, I mean,
that was early.
I went, but I wasn't planning on trying to be at the front of the stage. I just went and took it all in.
Well, see,
so.
I was going for that same reasoning, but I didn't know how many people were going to be there. I didn't know what the situation was going to be like. Everybody that I was around was like, dude, we got to go early. I didn't even know that fans were lining up at like midnight.
Whoa.
Midnight. That's the crazy thing. Actually, I've never seen more drunk people at like 4 a.m. in my life. Like, I was looking at this kid. He was like borderline passing out. And I was like, it is 5 a.m. Like, how did you get to this point? We play at 12:30.
He never stopped, man. He never stopped.
Those guys just keep going the entirety of the night. But Cal's doing that, right? Cal is hosting college game day this week. And we'll get to that matchup a little bit, but I mean, they made it a rule. You can't line up until 12. If you line up before 12, then
before midnight?
Before midnight, you have no guarantee to be at the front of the line. So it's whoever gets there first at 12. So if you get there at like 11:59, there's no guarantee that you'd be at the front of the line. They're just trying to preserve it. But people are ecstatic that it's going to be in Berkeley. That's the thing, though, is that like college game day on the West Coast, not ideal.
No, it's really early.
It's really early.
And the show itself is like, I mean, normally when you get to feature it on the East Coast, the sun is up. You've got great, scenery, great backgrounds. You got the students so you can actually, the crowd there you can actually see. On the West Coast, it's dark for the first hour or two of the show, and it's just like, oh, this is fun.
No doubt, and that's the difference, is I think that, like, people on the East Coast have a different perception of college game day, right? Like, if you live on the East Coast, you're probably watching the entirety of that 3-hour show. My perception on the West Coast, especially working Friday nights now, is I wake up at like 8 o'clock, 8:30, and then I watch like the picks at the the end of college game day, and then I get my party started, and I watch college football. But like on the West Coast, like because the show goes 3 hours, I don't know how many West Coast fans are getting up at 6 a.m. to watch college game day in its entirety. Whereas on the East Coast, 9 a.m. is very realistic for a lot of fans to watch the entirety of that show.
There was a time and a place where I would, but that time and place, as you mentioned, now working Friday nights and being up usually past midnight most Friday nights, those time and places have kind of evaporated.
I think that it's like it depends on the location, right? Like for me,
I mean, yeah. If it was in Eugene, I'd probably get up and make it appointment viewing. If it's Tallahassee, I'm not as worried.
See, that's the thing is like they've gone to Tallahassee, they've gone to Tuscaloosa. When they went to Pullman, I watched that one in the entirety.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure
that was like such a special moment. Am I going to watch all of Cal tomorrow? Maybe I will, because I actually am very curious to see what it's going to be like with the Calgorithm already just blowing up on Twitter. Just take that, but to a college game day environment. Like, imagine the signs that we're seeing tomorrow.
It could be good.
It could be good.
I would hope they're intellectual. I would expect that they're going to have some sort of intellectual side to their signs at Cal coming up tomorrow.
And this is like been something in the works for so long. In fact, I was talking to my buddy Eli, who goes to USC, or he went to USC, just graduated, grew up in Berkeley, big Cal fan his entire life. He was telling me there was a time in 2007 where Cal was projected to host College Game Day, and the university said no, they didn't want that to come to campus. And that just shows the difference of what Cal has become, because Cal didn't really care about athletics.
Yeah.
There was a long period of time where people just didn't really feel like Cal really cared about their athletic program. Even to this day, like, people talk about conference realignment, right? And saying, oh, well, Cal doesn't really want to be in the ACC. They'd rather be on the West Coast because they could travel less. And that's really what they care about, is just, preserving the student athletes, because what matters first is the student athlete. Now, I don't know. I think the publicity, the excitement of being in the ACC, and finally they're like, yeah, we can host College Game Day. This is a good opportunity for our university to promote ourselves as a institution that has not only good academics, but also good athletics. I feel like Cal basketball is also on the rise. Good coach out there. I think that, like, this is huge for Cal, and I'm happy they're finally accepting College Game Day onto their campus. I think this is going to be exciting.
Well, we are talking college football game day there as we kick things off here on the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving. Welcome in, everybody. We have gotten the show off and rolling. This tailgate has gotten started before we even got the chairs pulled out. We are ready to go on today's program. We got plenty in store for you here. Knight and I are a little, a little worse for where I'm pulling up. I see the YouTube channel here. We got that up. We got the YouTube stream going on right now, and I'm looking at myself going, yeah, I look tired. I look like I was up until 2 o'clock this morning.
It's almost like we were.
Because I was. We were up late last night in Eugene for high school football as Roseburg played on a Thursday night, a rarity there. No one in existence apparently knows the last time that Roseburg played on a Thursday. Maybe it's just the people I know don't know. But we had Thursday night football last night for you with Roseburg and North Eugene. We got Ducks coming up today as they are hosting Michigan State on a Friday night game. Beavers tomorrow, back to action after their bye week. We've got all sorts of stuff going on in college football. We've got a ton of high school football going on tonight that we get to kind of focus on a little bit more because we're not going to be out on a game coming up tonight. So a lot to get to here on today's program. Really looking forward to it. We also have a pair of tickets to send you to Oregon State and Colorado State here on the program today. So if you'd like to go to that, keep your radio right here. We'll be giving those away later in the program. That is a 3:30 kickoff tomorrow at Research Stadium. And we'll break down the game a little bit more. But, I look at this one and, my hope is that it's not a very close game because I don't think it should be if Oregon State is playing the way they should be, but it could be an entertaining game.
It's a Pac-12 game.
It's
kind of
a future Pac-12
a future
game.
Pac-12 game.
Yeah. I think it's kind of a statement game, and we'll dive into that one a little bit more later on in the hour. But welcome you into the program. Happy to have you here with us. As you might have heard, we do this from noon to 2 on Fridays here on The Score, talking football here in the Umpqua Basin. It is brought to you by BTB Moving. They'll provide the labor services for your moving needs. They're veteran-owned, affordable, dependable, efficient, and careful. They've got senior and veteran discounts available. So if you've got a move coming up or you just need some help getting stuff from point A to point B, BTB Moving is your team to call. Book now at 541-315-0122, and you can find them on Facebook at BTB Moving. All right, well, we are getting this program off and rolling for you here today. And we do it usually by getting this party started by cracking a cold one.
Nothing gets a tailgate party going like a nice cold beverage. So let's crack one open and kick off today's show with our top story.
Set up with Robbins under center. Roseburg fine wearing clock off. Hit as he throws, and it's picked off again. Another takeaway for North Eugene. A chance to return. One man to beat, and it's going to be a pick six for the Highlanders.
Coach, you guys found yourselves down 21-0. You guys battled back today. What are the emotions right now coming off a tough loss like this one?
We just kind of tired of the roller coaster, right? Tough one last week, tough one this week. But holy cow, the fight that the kids showed to be able to claw back right? To really fight, get after it, to try and turn it into a game, and to not just roll over was incredible. And it was really fun to see. It was exciting, inspiring to see those guys just not at one point did anybody give up. I mean, it's heartbreaking, and we had some heads hanging at the end of the game there, and we addressed it, we talked about it, and you get it, because it breaks your heart, but not at one point do these guys give up. And, that's something to really be proud of.
That was my call of the game-changing pick six.
Give yourself a pat on the back, Joey.
I don't like using my own clips and then coming out of my play-by-play to then be me talking, but...
Well, you didn't. You had me interviewing Coach in between.
We had some other stuff.
You had a little bit of a break.
That was a highlight from the game last night. A highlight for North Eugene. Unfortunately, a low light for Roseburg in that one. The pick six changing the score and giving North Eugene the deciding touchdown in the matchup. The Highlanders pull off a 28-21 victory against Roseburg. That was Coach Watson after the game talking about just how this team's been through it the last couple of weeks. Last week they were against Thurston. They were down 10-0. They rallied back. They tie that game up, and ultimately Thurston scores the deciding game, the deciding score late in that game to pull off a 7-point victory. Now another week where Roseburg rallies back from a big hole. This time 21-0. They rally back, tie it at 21, but they give up the pick six. That is the deciding score in that game, and it's another 7-point loss. And Coach talking about how they're kind of tired of this roller coaster. They want to maybe be on a steady plane instead of going way down and then having to climb all the way back up and then unfortunately go back down with the loss at the end. It was another entertaining game. We both started out going, God dang. Thursday night kind of threw us for a loop. Yeah. It felt weird to begin with, and we had a couple of technical glitches trying to get some things situated in a spot that we had never broadcast from before, so it was a little bit of a new environment. We got some things kind of rolling, but the game got off into a really bad start for Roseburg. Suddenly they were down 21-0 in the first half, and we're like, geez, Louise. But credit to them, man. They did a great job of rallying back.
I think the words that I looked at you and said was, this is miserable. It was 21-0, and it just felt like nothing was going Roseburg's way. It was fumble, interception. They give it props to North Eugene. They got aggressive. They went up 14-0. What did they do? They came out and got an onside kick, and they got it, and they scored a touchdown. And man, I mean, it just was not pretty. And Coach talked a little bit about it after the game. He said we just need to start quicker. Yeah. It feels like the last 2 weeks they've gotten themselves in a hole, and sure, they've been able to dig themselves out, but if they can start quicker, then this is a team that really is a few plays away from being 5-1 right now. I think Churchill's really good.
4-1.
4-1. Yeah. But think about this, Churchill just beat Thurston. That's the first time in 8 years that Thurston's lost a league game. I'm okay with that that Churchill loss, but the last 2 weeks, that stings. You're so close. You're so close. This
team is right there on the verge. And I look at these last 2 weeks, and I think it's just I think it's good evidence as to why this move to the 5A classification is good and right for Roseburg. We talk about, winning is contagious, but so is losing. And the program, unfortunately, in the last 10 years or whatever, how far back you want to go here, has seen, unfortunately, more losing than they have winning. And so to change that, you kind of have to change the culture and get the kids to start believing in themselves again. And it's not an easy thing to turn around. I mean, the OSAA didn't just suddenly decide to start letting teams that aren't winning games drop to a lower classification just because they felt like it was, what they're trying to keep the sport going and keep it viable for a lot of schools. And to do that, you got to have teams that can win. And so it's giving teams the opportunity to play at a level that's more competitive for them. And just unfortunately right now, Roseburg at the 6A level for football, it hasn't been overly competitive the last number of years. And so I think you see the last 2 weeks against Thurston. Vaunted program, like you said, hadn't lost a league game since 2017. That streak comes to an end this week, but Roseburg goes into that one, falls behind 10-0. I would say that, probably going out there, Roseburg maybe a little bit shell-shocked at the start, like, oh, God, here's Thurston, some nerves, uncertainty about whether or not we can really hang with them. And then they started to move the ball, build confidence, and they played really well in that game all the way down to the end. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them to pull out a win. Then this last game, I think it was nerves again, but for a different reason. Roseburg has the backup quarterback out there. Luke Robbins takes over. And look, I think Luke was a starting quarterback at Douglas. I think he just transferred back to Roseburg High School, and there was already an established guy in Corey Kimball that had been in the system, knows it a little bit better, and was kind of the next guy in line to get that job this year. And so Luke kind of just naturally was fit into the backup role. I think he's capable of being a starter, but he fit into that backup role, and he gets to focus on being a linebacker defensively. Well, now he's thrust into the starting job as the starting quarterback, and, I mean, I think you'd have to be completely oblivious to the situation if you go out there and you don't have a little bit of nerves to start out a game where it's your first time starting in what is kind of felt like a must-win game for Roseburg. And I think early on it showed that. There was a fumble on a handoff that didn't go quite well. Then he got hit and throws an interception. Things didn't go well, but then credit once again to Roseburg's kids. Things start not great, and they find a way to battle back. So I think this team is growing in confidence. It's a question I keep asking every week. How do you feel like the confidence level of this team is going? And the coach keeps saying each week they come back and they keep asking, we want to keep getting better. What do we got to do? How do we get better? How do we keep improving? How do we win? And so I think the mindset has really been, it's a fresh change. It's been working well. The move to 5A, you got a new head coach, a new voice. I think things are trending in the right direction, and I think we've seen that kind of building over these last 2 weeks. But Coach said after the game, moral victories can only take you so much.
No doubt, but I think that, like, the thing that you got to think about is that it's year one under Matt Watson. Like Rome wasn't built in a day. Like,
True, absolutely.
This is going to take a lot of time, but what this does show is it shows the underclassmen on this team how you can compete, and it shows them you don't want those moral victories. Mm-hmm. Moral victories are great until they're not, and you can't have too many of them in a row. And so I think that this sets a precedent for those younger players on the Roseburg football team that can look up and see, okay, these seniors are playing their hearts out right now. This is the type of football that we need to play. We're so close, but we just need to get over the hump. And this is going to take some time, but you're starting to see it, and it even trickles down to the youth football in the community and the JV football team and the freshman football team. Coach Watson's been huge so far. I mean, year one, he's just trying to instill this community that football has a presence here in Douglas County. It has rich history here, and he's trying to get Roseburg back on track. And it's going to take some time, but, you know, these moral victories certainly help out if you look at the bigger picture and look at, hey, there's a sophomore on this team that may look up and see the competitiveness of the seniors on this team, and he wants to play as hard as they do and wants to get over the hump and win those games. And so, yes, it sucks they lost, but you got to look at the big picture sometimes.
Roseburg football taking a 28-21 loss last night on the road against North Eugene. Tough one there to swallow, but, man, I mean, ended up being a good game. After falling behind 21-0, we talk about the offense getting them back in it, but how about the defense to be able to kind of keep North Eugene under control? North Eugene, I think, they had won 3 consecutive games, and I think to them this might have felt like kind of a proving game for them too, because they had beaten the 3 teams at the bottom of the league standings, and now here comes Roseburg, a team getting votes in the most recent coaches poll, and they wanted to prove that they could beat a good team out there as well. And I think they might have gotten a little bit of a big head after taking a big 21-0 lead early and playing really strong to start. And they started getting sloppy and making a lot of penalties and mistakes.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing is, like, Roseburg's defense held North Eugene without points for the remainder of the game after going down 21-0. The only thing that set this game apart was a pick six.
And, a defensive touchdown.
Defensive touchdown. And it was a tough play because there was multiple wide receivers open on the play. Luke Robbins got hit as he was throwing, and it resulted in an interception. Actually, both of his interceptions, he was
under pressure.
Under pressure.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing, is that if he would have just had like a second more to throw, like, this could be a different game. We saw him. I mean, he looked good. He could throw the ball.
He made the touchdown. He had 2 touchdown passes. Yeah. And the first one was, I mean, kudos to the receivers. There was 2 guys in the same spot, but it wasn't an easy pass to begin with, and a great finish on the catching side.
Well, and he started the game 9 of 11. the 2 incompletions were both interceptions. Like he didn't have a ball hit the ground through his first 11 tries. Like that says something.
That's good.
It's very impressive for a quarterback running the triple option. Like that's an impressive offensive passing statistic.
Yeah.
And I think that, having 2 passing touchdowns, having a 75-yard touchdown, huge.
Caden Austin had a big game offensively for Roseburg, broke off a couple of nice sweeps around the edge, and then had the big catch for 75 yards in that one for a touchdown, a house job there. Ended up with 97 yards through the air for Caden Austin. Also added, on the ground, 53 yards on the ground as well. So a good night there for that senior. I got to tally a lot of the numbers here, but, once again, Roseburg not looking bad. It's just a couple of small things that end up being the big difference for them there. Taking a look at the standings for Roseburg's league now, kind of what used to be the Midwestern League. We kind of keep calling it that. It's not officially called that, but it's mostly the Midwestern League teams, so let's go with it. Roseburg sitting at 1-3 in league play, 2-3 overall. They are currently number 24 in the power rankings. With 3 losses in league play, Roseburg does still have games against Eagle Point, Springfield, and South Eugene. Those teams combined in league play have just 1 win. Overall, they have combined just 1 win, and that was Eagle Point beating Springfield, was it?
Yes.
Last night?
No, South Eugene, 16-8.
Yeah. So one of those bottom feeder teams beat one of the other bottom feeder teams last night to get their first win. So somebody had to do it at that point. So Roseburg does have games against the 3 teams at the bottom of the league standings that hopefully they can get some wins there. And a big one coming up this week. They've played Churchill, they played Thurston, they played North Eugene. Those are the 3 top teams. Willamette is the other one that doesn't have a loss on the season. They've played 1 less league game, actually 2 less league games currently. So they're not technically, I guess, in first place. But
how does that work?
It'll all even out.
No, but
how do they not have played?
How do they play?
They'll play tomorrow.
No, but how do they play 2 non-league games? Oh, because they're playing tomorrow.
They just haven't played this week, where the rest of the league has played this week.
They're playing tonight?
Yeah, they played tonight.
Okay.
Against Springfield. So Churchill, Thurston, North Eugene, Roseburg. Crater must have had the bye week this week. The rest of the league, most everybody played last night. So Willamette will catch up at least 1 game here tonight. So, but that's the next game for Roseburg is Willamette. Should be a really interesting game to get you excited for that one. I'm sure the players are really looking forward to this one because they're going to see some familiar faces on the other side. Willamette has 2 former Roseburg players on that team, and it sounds like Willamette actually did a good job recruiting this year. Not things that you're supposed to say when it comes to high school football, but
interesting.
They got some transfers from a couple of different programs. 2 of them from Roseburg, Maverick Akers and Brody Robinson, both transferring there this year. And so it should be a fun one because there's going to be familiar faces on the other side. Should be kind of a rivalry in that fact because Roseburg will be looking to try and show those guys that they made the wrong decision to leave the program. But whatever, whatever the reasons were. Maybe it was outside.
How awesome this game's at home.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one at home. And, look, we all live in this world of college football where guys are transferring all over the place. These guys might have moved, like their family might have moved to Eugene and they needed to go to a new place. I don't know this backstory behind why they transferred, but they're at a different school and, they're going to be on the opposite sideline wearing a different colored jersey. And so it should be fun for the guys at Roseburg that know those guys on the Willamette team to get out there and try to show off and have this bit of a rivalry matchup coming up this week. Should be fun. But what more importantly, looking at it, Roseburg with 3 league losses is behind the 8 ball in the chase to try and get one of the 3 playoff spots that are automatic out of this league. And another loss means I think Roseburg out of the running for an automatic playoff spot, and their only hope would be to get in with an at-large bid. At number 24, they're finding themselves in a tough spot to try and get in here. So every game is big, but there's a lot that's going to be riding on this game and Roseburg's hopes of trying to make it into the postseason.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is that, if you look at, where Roseburg's ranked right now, I think we were talking about yesterday, it was 24th right now.
It's a 16-team bracket. There are 5 at-large bids. So 11 teams automatically qualify. 5 get in as an at-large. At number 24, you're outside the picture right now.
You really are. And the problem is that, like, over the next 4 weeks, this is really the only game that can help your resume. Because I don't think that beating South Eugene, I don't think that beating Eagle Point or Springfield is going to really boost your resume the way that beating Willamette does. I think that if you lose to Willamette, it's over. You're not making the playoffs. Like that. If you beat Willamette, there's still a sliver of hope. It's not a big sliver, but it is a sliver of hope.
Right now, Roseburg at 24, Willamette at number 11 in that poll. It is the computer-generated number that gives you your power ranking.
The BCS of high school
pretty
sports.
much. Yep. And a lot of times it doesn't make a lot of sense. But
hey, Roseburg was ahead of Thurston heading into that matchup.
I know, yeah. Thurston is at 21.
Wow.
So, but they are sitting at the top 3 of the conference standings right now. But there could be a case if Thurston loses a second game to somebody, there could be a case that Thurston may not make the playoffs this year, which would be crazy.
Do they do the postseason selection for those at-large bids based on the computer-generated system, or is it on the coaches poll?
No, it's based on the computer-generated numbers. The coaches poll is purely entertainment purposes only. So it's the 5 highest-ranked teams that weren't an automatic qualifier. And if you've got an automatic qualifier that's outside the top 16, you could have some guys, teams that were like right there on the edge of the top 16 that get bumped out because you get a bid stealer, as you might say, when it comes to the NCAA tournament. So it's going to be an interesting finish, but this next week is the pressure's on now for Roseburg. And Willamette comes in. Currently, they're undefeated. They do play tonight. The Willamette Wolverines will be taking on one of those bottom teams, Springfield, tonight. Springfield hasn't won a game all season. Although, out of the 3 teams that were at the bottom that hadn't won a game, obviously, we had Eagle Point getting a win last night for their first win as they beat South Eugene, who hasn't won a game all year. Springfield's been the toughest one. They've put a challenge into Crater. They put a challenge into North Eugene. So Springfield maybe gives Willamette a little bit of pressure. We'll see what happens as that game kicks off tonight from Willamette High School, 7 o'clock kickoff there tonight in Eugene. So it's going to be an interesting finish to the high school football season. There's a bunch of games that are coming up tonight for teams around the Umpqua Basin. We'll be taking a look at that a little bit later on. We've gone really long and probably should take a break here. We could do I told Knight, like, man, I'm just so tired. We need to figure out what we're going to do for the show. And he's like, man, don't worry about it. We're 2 broadcasters. We'll fill plenty of time. And look at that. We sure enough have. We should probably get a break, though. It is the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show presented by BTB Moving. When we come back, we're going to dive into college football because we've got Ducks coming up tonight. We'll take a look at what the Oregon Ducks have in store for us as they welcome in Michigan State. Let's go ahead and get you a score update.
3 minutes. For your Score Sports Update, I'm Knight Jarecki. Well, for a second consecutive week, the Roseburg football team rallied back from an early deficit, only to see their efforts fall just a bit short. The Indians came back from down 21-0 against North Eugene, but a third-quarter pick-six gave the Highlanders a 28-21 win last night in conference play. Luke Robbins threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for another, but he also fired 2 interceptions that helped North Eugene win its 4th straight game. The Indians fell to 2-3 on the year, and they are now 1-3 in league play. Also yesterday, the Elkton Elks didn't have enough to take down Crow in 6-man football. The Elks lost 39-25. Coming up today in football, Douglas and Sutherland meet at Sutherland High School for a battle of unbeatens. The Trojans and Bulldogs are both 4-0 to start out this year. You can listen to that game tonight on I-101. Dan Bain is going to have the call. Pre-game starting at 6:45. Game coverage will start at 7 p.m. South Umpqua has its first league game at home against Siuslaw. Top-ranked Oakland heads to winless Gold Beach. Glide has a non-league football game at Regis. And in 8-man football tonight, Glendale hosts Prospect Charter. 4th-ranked Douglas hosts number 10 Mohawk in a top 10 matchup. Riddle travels to Chiloquin. Yoncalla visits Cross Point Christian, and Days Creek will play C.S. Lewis Academy at George Fox University in Newburgh. There's also volleyball and soccer on the schedule for yesterday. You can check out the scoreboard and score recaps at 541radio.com. In local college sports, the Umpqua Riverhawks volleyball team hosts Mount Hood tonight at the UCC campus. The contest gets underway at 6 p.m. Also tonight, The Oregon Ducks are hosting the Michigan State Spartans tonight at 6 p.m. at Autzen Stadium. You can tune in for coverage starting at 4 p.m. on News Radio 93.9 FM and 1240 KQEN.
It's a new era of Oregon State football this fall, and you can catch all the action on The Score, 92.3 FM and 1490 AM.
Fly sweep action to Card. Zachary to the 20, 15, 10, 5, right sideline and in! Touchdown Beavers! Zachary Card on the fly sweep.
Tune in for OSU football on The Score, 92.3 FM and 1490 AM. Douglas County's home for the OSU Beavers.
Whether it's across town or across the state, moving is always a chore. So let BTB Moving help with your next move. BTB Moving is a labor-only company offering statewide services such as packing and unpacking, loading and unloading, piano moving, cleaning services, and 24-hour emergency services. BTB Moving is an affordable, veteran-owned company here to help with your next move. Call 541-315-0122 or find BTB Moving on Facebook. That's BTB Moving for all your moving needs.
Recapping games and looking ahead to the weekend, this is the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving.
Well, I don't want to seem obvious, but if you are watching on our YouTube channel for the broadcast here, you probably have an idea of what we're going to be interested in coming up here tonight as the Oregon Ducks get ready to take on the Michigan State Spartans.
Yeah, Joey's just interested in giving me another heartbreak, another heart attack, another day where I'm considering jumping off my balcony. He's wearing the grass is damn green in Eugene shirt again. Joey, you did not learn.
I don't care about your health, Nate.
That's it.
He's lost for words.
I am lost for words. Joey just might as well jump off the balcony.
Might as well. No, I don't plan on wearing it for the game. In fact, I actually might be completely changed out of duck gear as I am driving out to the woods. I don't know what I might actually be wearing orange and black because I've got my my Roseburg sweatshirt that I'll probably be throwing on because it's really nice bright orange, which is good for hunting season. So we'll see. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to be tuning in and listening to that one on the radio as I'm heading out to the campsite. So that'll be get going tonight. But tonight, 6 o'clock, Oregon taking on Michigan State. If you are curious, Michigan State, they are led by a familiar name, former Oregon State head coach Jonathan Smith, now on the other sideline wearing the, what is it? Emerald, what color of green do they wear?
That's a good question.
While you look that up, I'm going to play this clip of Dan Lanning talking about the similarities of Michigan State and what Oregon State looked like under Jonathan Smith.
Michigan State, a coach you're very familiar with. He's familiar with you. Michigan State going to look like maybe Jonathan Smith coached Oregon State team, or do you expect differences?
I think there's definitely some similarities. They might be in 11 personnel a little bit more than what he was at Oregon State, but ultimately they present a lot of the same wrinkles that you'll see from some of those teams we play in the past. And one of the things that's unique is their ability to use a fullback at times in the system, line up in a little bit more 12 personnel where they create some bigger sets and establish the run. They've become a really good team when it comes to run and play action shots. They're always aggressive when it comes to special teams play, and they're playing really sound defense right now. So it looks like a team that Jonathan's accustomed to putting together.
All right, what color green does Michigan State wear when they come to Autzen Stadium here tonight for that 6 o'clock kick?
So according to Michigan State University, their official school colors are Spartan green and white. Like, what is that? I hate that. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
We're wearing Oregon green tonight. We're wearing Oregon yellow. Create a color. Is it Kelly green?
They did create a color, Spartan green.
Use a legit color.
They're not being very creative.
They're not being very creative
with their ideas, but they did create one. I mean, I can't really talk because they always call it Cubby Blue. I mean, it's just like it's royal blue, but it's like they call it Cubby Blue.
And you know what's very interesting? Actually, I just looked this up because I wanted to confirm. So Roseburg High School,
yes, it's beaver orange, right?
Beaver orange.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So why is that a thing?
I don't have an explanation.
Do you support
for you,
that? Like,
I mean, just call it orange or
this is like the chicken
blaze
before
orange.
the egg issue.
I don't know.
Did the egg come before the chicken, or did the chicken come before the
egg?
egg?
Was it orange,
or
beaver orange before it was
orange,
Roseburg orange, or did they name it beaver orange?
What was
is our orange the same color as beaver orange? I don't know.
Was orange a color, and then they decided to darken it a little bit, and then it became beaver orange? Is there cowboy orange for like OSU,
for Oregon, or for Oklahoma State?
Yeah, OSU in Oklahoma. Or,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, let's look that up.
Knight's going to dive into the color schemes of college football teams around the country. Meanwhile, tonight, the Oregon Ducks taking on Michigan State in what is their first Big Ten football game at home at Autzen Stadium. You'll get to, the Big Ten logos have been on the field all season, so that's nothing new. But this, to me, and that was a clip from the Oregon Football Coaches Show with Dan Lanning there, with Jerry Allen and Mike Jorgensen, and that is a show you can tune in Wednesday nights on our news partner, News Radio 93.9 FM and 1240 KQEN, to hear from Coach Lanning. In that, they also talked about how, at the start of the program, Joey Mack was in there with them, and they were talking about, like, did last week really feel like the first Big Ten game? What's it going to feel like, being at home? And, like, to me, this really feels like, okay, now we're starting Big Ten play for Oregon after the game against UCLA last week that was. But what did you find out in your sleuthing, by the way?
It's literally just orange and black.
For Oregon State or for Oklahoma?
For Oklahoma State. Like, because they're a legit school that doesn't have to differentiate themselves.
Can you buy a Crayola box of crayons that has beaver orange in there?
I don't think so.
Are they going to have it labeled as beaver orange, or is it just a made-up color for Oregon State?
If you're going to go that far, just be like Stanford and name your team after a color. Like, at that point, like, yeah, we're the Cardinal because we have Cardinal uniforms. Like, that's stupid. Yeah, we have Spartan green. Like, is Spartan green ever been a thing other than Michigan State? Like, if I just Google Spartan green right now, is that like an official like color palette?
Is it going to have the chroma key or whatever the things are called? This is an unexpected rant on today's program here for young Knight Jarecki.
Apparently it is. Apparently Spartan green is a thing. You can get like a color palette of Spartan green.
I could go to Home Depot and ask them to make up a paint color of Spartan. That's what they always talk about when it comes to when I'm listening to Cubs games. The uniform descriptions are brought to you by a paint company. I can't remember which one. And they tell you, yeah, you can come in and get Cubby Blue for your home, for your clubhouse.
Yeah. Also, apparently Nike sells like dunks. You can get Nike dunks in Spartan green color. It has nothing to do with Michigan State. It just is a Spartan green color.
It doesn't have to do with it, but they kind of probably have to do with it.
Do it, yeah.
Which Nike dunks? Spin around your laptop. Can you show me what Nike dunks is? It? Yeah, did you notice the quarterback's shoes last night for North Eugene? He was wearing cleats that were Nike dunks.
He was wearing,
or maybe they were. I'm not a shoe guy.
He was wearing like the Jordan shoes. Have you seen those?
Yeah. I don't know if they were cleats or if they were just. They were playing on turf, so a lot of times some guys might wear just tennis shoes, but those don't feel like the right shoes to wear on. So
this is like a common trend. Like some more and more like college football players. And
careful there.
Yeah, sorry. I don't want to crack the screen.
Banging his mic around, he's gonna break everything.
But yeah, see, that's like a thing. Like
cleats are becoming too designer.
Yeah,
like literally, like my cleats and they were the ugliest.
You're telling
things.
me like if you were like
no, I wouldn't wear those.
No.
But again, I'm not a sneaker guy. The all whites maybe. But I'm not an all-white kind of guy because what about, it gets too dirty and then I can't wear it.
All whites would get way too dirty.
Oh, playing football for sure, but it's like
would you wear like something like that?
That I could see that for baseball.
Baseball? Yeah.
I like lows for baseball. I didn't really care for them for football. I liked the mids for football.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But honestly, it's so. But here's my thing: is that like I think it's very flashy. I think it's cool. Like just wearing Jordans in general, it's like it's a very like you have like good style. Like I feel like that's just kind of the general.
They stood out to me. I was up there. We were up in the stands of backside of the baseball stadium at North Eugene High School watching, and like I mean, granted, I was watching through binoculars because my eyes suck, and
it wasn't your eyes. It was just we were in a bad vantage
that
point.
angle was definitely difficult. But the shoes stood out to me that the quarterback was, and I was like, "Whoa, those are cool."
Yeah.
And I actually thought about saying something, but I knew I was going to butcher exactly what I was talking about because, again, I'm not a shoe guy. I am very, very, very low. Knight, this is what's been fun about having Knight here is like he's like almost a little bit of a carbon copy of me. Like when we did the interview to hire Knight, like I was like, man, I walked away thinking like this kid gets it. He feels like he thinks a lot the way I do. I like him. I hope we can hire him. Well, he came in and it just continues to feel that way. So Knight, you're what, 23?
22.
22. So in 19 years, here's what you got to look forward to. You're going to do all your shopping at Costco. Sorry.
I honestly don't hate that.
My pants are from Costco.
Dude.
I got my Oregon socks on today.
So the jacket that I wore yesterday for the post-game interview, that was from Costco.
My jacket yesterday is from Costco as well. No, actually, no, that's not true. I got that at the outlet store.
Dude, I don't hate that. Like I like shopping at Costco. Am I getting old, Joey?
You are aging quickly. I'm a bad influence on you. I'm sorry,
it's
young
like,
man.
Dude, staple. I go to Costco weekly. Rotisserie chicken at Costco, great deal.
Yeah, definitely.
Still to this
for
day.
a single guy, you could eat on that for a week.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good deal there.
See, not bad, not
and
bad.
I go out there and I swear I never intend to buy clothes, but it always ends up with something in my basket. I don't know how.
I feel this. It's been really hard to just like hold back, right?
I have bought like so many pairs of pants. Like I used to be. There was one thing that I would not change when it came to my clothing, and that was where I bought pants. Now, granted, I'm not buying my denim jeans from out of Costco because like I get Old Navy bootcut jeans. Like I've done that since I was a high schooler. Like that has been my style.
You're an Old Navy
like them.
guy.
I like them the way they fit. They always seem to work. They're usually reasonably priced. I'm good with it. It works. Why change it? But I've been buying like these pants that like kind of the canvas cargo pant kind of thing. I just keep buying pants at Costco for like different color, like khaki, green, gray, all these different blue for like kind of dressier pants to wear to things when I got to be at least a little bit more business-like. I just don't understand suddenly I'm like, I guess I buy clothes at Costco now. Like this is where I do my clothes shopping.
Yep.
Anyways.
No, but I'm with you. I think that like there's been several times where I walk into Costco and I'm just trying to get like food. Like I live alone. Like I don't have like a big shopping list. I don't have kids or anything else. Like all I'm getting is like probably like some chicken, maybe some cottage cheese. I'll get a pineapple, grapes, blueberries, whatever it is at Costco. That's like 5 things. It's really hard for me to walk out of Costco and not try to grab like some clothes because you walk past all of those clothes on the way to go to the produce and go get your food, and then you're like, man, that's really nice, and it's not that expensive.
It's not that. It's only $19. Like, where am I going to get a better deal than that?
No,
where am I going to find a Nike shirt that's only $19?
Right. Shout out Costco.
Yeah. I mean, today's show is brought to you by BTB Moving, but if Costco wants to sponsor us, I mean, we'll continue talking about you.
Oh, that'd be great.
I mean, I would love that.
If they want to crack open the cold one and we could just have like the 50-cent drinks or 59-cent drinks now.
It's time to pack it up and grab a hot dog to go. It's $1.50 at Costco.
No, literally. Oh, to go full circle and go back on track.
Let's do it.
But no, just to go back. Those cleats, though, are becoming very popular. In fact, if you go into like Madden or like College Football 25, you can like create a player and they can have those specific cleats. And more NFL players are starting to wear them.
And you get the, cleats for a cause thing that they do.
Yeah.
I think that's mostly baseball, but I think they've done it in football in the NFL, but they get they don't wear them in the game, but it's like doing stuff, making your cleats a fashion statement has become a thing. And, at least wide receivers, we know they like to make fashion statements. So
100%. I think Derek Carr might actually wear like those like Nike high top. I feel like I've seen him wear those like once or twice. I feel like football players each week they change their cleats. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like I said, mine. It's like, what's black? I'll take it. You got something that's black and a 10.5 in a mid high ankle kind of thing. I'll take it. That's good. That works for me.
At least here, like I just searched NFL player Jordan cleats. Like here's Debo wearing them.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming a thing. Like you can wear these cleats. I like it. Like would you I mean, I guess you said you would for baseball, but would you wear like a basketball shoe like with cleats on it for like football at all?
Probably not. No.
No.
And I mean, I buy like the same Nike shoe every like year, and that
Joey,
I wear it
hear
until
me
they
out.
wear out.
Would you buy them if they were selling them at Costco?
Well, no, you might have me convinced. All right. Well, that segment kind of went a little bit awry, but I'm okay with it. I hope you are as well. It's the Umpqua Basin tailgate. You know, sometimes you go to a tailgate, and you just the conversation goes where the conversation goes, and that's where we are here today.
Costco.
You start talking about Costco and fashion sense for high school quarterbacks and their cleat choices. We'll try to get into some college football here as the show wears on. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to do so. Let's try to talk a little bit about the Beavers coming in next, because keep your radios right here for those that are maybe joining us online. If you're listening online or watching the YouTube stream, keep your radio right here, because we'll give you an opportunity to try and go to this weekend's game for the Oregon State Beavers. Stay with us. We continue on with the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show presented by BTB Moving here on The Score, 92.3 FM and 1490 AM.
With The Score, 92.3 FM, 1490 AM news update, I'm Ashley Claiborne. A Eugene man died in a plane crash on Thursday. The pilot attempting to land a single-engine antique Piper aircraft on the turf runway at George Felt Airport in the 400 block of Felt Street in Charter Oaks about 11:30 a.m. The plane bounced off the ground and was launched back into the air, hitting the top of a tree with the propeller before taking a nosedive to the ground. The pilot, 65-year-old Stephen Crestinger, was pronounced deceased at the scene. Roseburg Public Schools making progress in student achievement and surpassing state averages in many areas, according to the 2024 Oregon assessment results released by the Oregon Department of Education on Thursday. See more information regarding that assessment data linked with this story online at 541radio.com. And the Umpqua Public Transit District Board of Directors will be having a special meeting Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. See more details on these stories as well as complete local news coverage at 541radio.com. In sports, coming up today in local football, the Douglas and Sutherland teams are meeting at Sutherland High School for a battle of the unbeatens. The Trojans and Bulldogs are both 4-0 to start out the year. That game starts with pregame at 6:45 and kickoff at 7 p.m., and you can tune in for coverage on I-101 FM. In other games coming up today, South Umpqua has its first league game at home against Siuslaw. Top-ranked Oakland is headed to winless Gold Beach, and Glide has a non-league game at Regis. In college football, the Ducks are hosting Michigan State tonight at 6 p.m. Tune in for coverage on News Radio 93.9 FM and 1240 KQEN, while the Oregon State Beavers are back in action, hosting Colorado State Saturday at 3:30. Tune in for coverage starting at 1:30 on The Score, 92.3 FM, 1490 AM. Chance of rain this afternoon, otherwise partly sunny, a high near 70. Tonight, some widespread fog and 50 for a low. News and information 24/7 at 541radio.com. This is The Score, 92.3 FM, 1490 AM.
Get ready, anglers! The Southern Oregon Fly Tying and Casting Expo is coming to the Douglas County Fairgrounds this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, this event will entertain and inspire you. Enjoy live demos, visit with top exhibitors, and discover the latest gear and techniques. For more details, visit UmpquaValleyFlyFishers.org.
Roseburg football is on the air. It's a new era with a new coach and new opponents. Tune in Friday nights as the Roseburg Indians take to the gridiron for hard-hitting high school football action. Get ready for kickoff with the Friday night pregame show presented by Mountain Mike's Pizza starting at 6. Then we go live to the field starting at 6:45 as we count down to kickoff at 7. It's Roseburg football on The Score, 92.3 FM and 1490 AM. Or watch the live video simulcast at 541radio.com. Covering the latest buzz from the gridiron, this is the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving.
We're covering something. I don't know if it's all from the gridiron. We did tie it back into football last segment, but got off on a bit of a tangent there.
Hey, it's okay.
It works out.
It's all about the tailgate experience, Joey.
We are getting ready for Oregon State football. We'll get back to that Oregon football game as they get Big Ten started at home. Ooh, hey.
It's here, Big Ten season.
Yeah, I just realized when I left the studio, I forgot to put your sign up back behind.
Look what Joey does. He just loves wrecking things.
Bull in a China shop.
Let's fix this.
Okay, go ahead. While you do that, I will talk about Oregon State football getting ready to take on Colorado State at Reser Stadium Saturday afternoon at 3:30. Now, let's talk fashion again for a moment because I guess we're just going to be gluttons for punishment here. Oregon State, I just saw this during the first break of the hour. They tweeted out that they are going dark mode. So we've got tickets to give away. If you win them for us, you're supposed to wear black. So
please wear black.
Please try to participate in the festivities.
3:30 game, wear black.
It's a 3:30 game. Whose idea was it to try and do black for a 3:30 kickoff? Wait for you.
Right.
I mean, it's Oregon State. You're going to be on the CW at 7 o'clock at some point.
That's why you need to call in and get those tickets.
Save that for that game.
I agree. I
mean, I love the black. I like blackouts, the lights out, going dark. Like I love it. It's a great time. But save it for a game where you kick off after dark.
What would you recommend? Like orange out for this week?
Yeah, do that.
White out? Like, I mean, your options are limited. You got beaver orange or black.
Or just nothing, but, like, sure, go orange. Wear orange. I just did.
Go orange? Syracuse tonight? Picking the orange against UNLV?
Oh, that would be, be a little bit of sweet revenge there for Oregon State and the Pac-12 if UNLV decided to choke one away there.
Hey, they got UNLV coming to town in, 2 weeks? The week after Ohio State?
It's a good possibility.
I think so. That's going to be a good one.
How about this one this week? Colorado State. To me, I look at this game and, we could break down X's and O's. I honestly haven't seen any. Well, that's not true. I think I did watch some of Colorado State in Colorado. But, I look at Colorado's record. To me, this looks like a game that Oregon State should win. I don't know if there is a line on this one or if they're favored.
I think it's closer than you're giving it credit for. Dude,
Colorado State has not beaten a team that has won a game this year.
Yeah, but what do you mean?
Their two wins are against teams that are winless on the season.
I understand that. But at the same time,
I would hope that. So this goes to the point that I was hoping to make about this game. But at the same time,
their two losses are to Texas and to Colorado.
Good teams. Which brings me to the point that I was hoping to make with this is that this feels like a statement game for Oregon State. Now, granted, I know Colorado State is joining the Pac-12, but currently they're a Mountain West team, and Oregon State is trying to remain as a team in the eyes of the public, as a team that belongs at that top-tier level, a team that was in a Power 5 conference, a team that should be considered as a team that is kind of from a Power 5 conference. This is your chance to go out there and say, look, we're not losing to Colorado State. Granted, maybe that doesn't help you for the future, but for right now, this to me feels like a statement game that says we're not a team that's going to be – this is the stretch of the season where they're playing Mountain West Conference teams, week in and week out. This is the point of the season where Oregon State, they've had their games against Power 5 opponents. They need to start winning and kind of looking good doing so.
Yeah, the next 3 weeks, they got Colorado State this week, Nevada next week, and UNLV the week after. UNLV is a top 25 team now.
And that's a good one. And Boise State later on in the season, another good one.
And Cal. They play Cal again.
Right. They do have that Power 5 one there, yeah. A little ACC Pac-12 action going on there.
Right there. Wazoo as well. I mean, and there's some good games coming up for Oregon State. But this is a game that you probably have to win, and coming off a win against Purdue, having a bye week, you're at home. I think this is the first time for Colorado State coming to Corvallis since 1975. It's been that long.
Yeah, they haven't played. They've only played 3 times previously. Well, okay, we are running low on time here this hour, and we can continue talking college football. I looked at the game notes from Oregon State. Said that this is the 4th meeting between the two teams, and Colorado State leads the series 2-1. Then I looked at the Colorado game notes, and they say this is the 3rd meeting between the two schools, and Colorado State leads the series 2-0. Oh. So apparently Colorado State is not recognizing whatever Oregon State win was.
That's the controversy. I need to find out what happened in that game.
We'll have to look it up and figure out which one it is. While you do that, look, we are just touching on the tip of the iceberg on these games coming up. We'll dive into more of it here as we continue on into hour number 2. Plus, we want to take a look at the high school football schedule coming up tonight because we got some good games for our local teams. We'll break down some of that coming up in hour number 2. And just take a look at college football as a whole because there's some big games coming up as the week continues on. Oregon State, I did find out this. They are an 11-point favorite at home against Colorado State on Saturday. Now, if you'd like to go to that game, here's your opportunity. We are giving away tickets to go see Oregon State and Colorado State tomorrow at 3:30 at Research Stadium. You can sleep in on a Saturday. You can maybe get some errands done, and then you can make the trek up there and get your tailgating done. It's a beautiful Saturday, a mid-afternoon kickoff. All you got to do is wear black. That's all they're asking you to do, and we've got the tickets taken care of. So give us a call right now as we head to the break here. 541-673-5551 is the phone number. 541-673-5551. We will get you tickets to go see Oregon State and Colorado State tomorrow at Research Stadium. If you don't win tickets to the game, you can tune in for Oregon State football right here on The Score with pregame starting tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. So there you go. We are going to wrap up hour number 1 of the program. When we come back, we're going to talk some high school football. We're going to talk some college football, and we'd love to talk to you as well if you've got thoughts on what's going on around the region. So feel free to give us a call as well to comment on the show and tune in on our YouTube channel as well, 1490 The Score. It's the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show presented by BTB Moving.
The Michigan State Spartans tonight at 6 p.m. at Autzen Stadium. You can tune in for coverage starting at 4 p.m. on News Radio 93.9 FM and 1240 KQEN.
Whether it's across town or across the state, moving is always a chore. So let BTB Moving help with your next move. BTB Moving is a labor-only company offering statewide services such as packing and unpacking, loading and unloading, piano moving, cleaning services, and 24-hour emergency services. BTB Moving is an affordable veteran-owned company here to help with your next move. Call 541-315-0122 or find BTB Moving on Facebook. That's BTB Moving for all your moving needs.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join Ross Tucker and me from Arrowhead in Kansas City this week. It's the 4-0 Chiefs taking on the Saints. Derek Carr in New Orleans started the season with 2 straight wins, but now have fallen to 2-2. Can they bounce back against Patrick Mahomes and the defending Super Bowl champs? Tune in to find out on Monday Night Football.
On your home for the NFL, The Score, 92.3 FM and 1490 AM.
Come down this Saturday as Blocktoberfest celebrates Roseburg's birthday. Experience what Roseburg has to offer in the arts, crafts, live music, food, drink, and family fun. Saturday from 11 to 6, the downtown streets are blocked off and filled with vendors, live music, family, friends, and just a lot of fun. Celebrate Roseburg and support your local NeighborWorks Umpqua, who helps with affordable housing, education training, rural development, and more. It's the 3rd annual Blocktoberfest, and it's free. Check them out on Facebook.
From Astoria to Klamath Falls.
And we are excited to keep this thing moving.
From LeGrand to Roseburg.
And compete at a championship level and a top 25 level.
The Beaver State is primed to stay united as one.
Right there, BB! On 3, 1, 2, 3.
Join us Saturday. The Beavers welcome in the Colorado State Rams. Our coverage begins at 1:30 on the Beaver Sports Network.
On the Score, Douglas County's home for the OSU Beavers.
Local sports talk in Douglas County. It's the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving. Fridays, noon to 2, right here on 92.3 FM KWRZ Canyonville and 1490 AM KSKR Roseburg. We're The Score, Douglas County's home for sports. It's the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving. We're setting up shop, so pop open the cooler, pull up a seat.
Who wants to have some fun?
Let's talk some pigskin.
There's a heavy conversation whether or not Colorado's going to make a bowl. You could have that conversation for Oregon right now. And the talk going into this year was Oregon could go undefeated. They could go 12-0.
Yeah.
They could win the Big Ten. And right now the conversation is Oregon going to have a winning record, maybe?
From the Score Sports Closet, it's the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show.
Alert, alert, attention, freezing cold takes.
Okay,
Please take notice.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 of the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving. Here from the Score Sports Closet, along with Knight Jarecki, I'm Joey Keeran.
That wasn't a bad take at the time. That wasn't a bad take at the time.
Was that after week 1 or after week 2?
That was after week 1.
Okay.
We were like, wow, Oregon really was in a tussle with Idaho. If Colorado was in a tussle with North Dakota State, who knows? Maybe Oregon's just not playing that well.
Yeah, let's see. Idaho's still up there. Their record is 3-2. Now, granted, one of those losses is to Oregon, but Idaho,
they lost a close one.
They just lost their last game, which I would assume would have been like a league matchup or something.
It was a really close one to like UC Davis, I want to say.
UC Davis 28-26.
Yeah, they scored the touchdown, missed the 2-point conversion.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the quarterback got hurt. They had to put the backup QB in.
Wow.
Take that what you
And
will.
UC Davis is number 3 in the country in the FCS rankings. So, and they've got, am I reading? So Northern Arizona, that's their next opponent tomorrow for Idaho. And Northern Arizona is number 4. What? No, this is just the Big Sky rankings. Sorry. Dang it.
Whoa. I was so hyped about my UC Davis Aggies, Joey.
I Googled FCS football rankings, and that's what came up, and I didn't pay attention to the fact that it was just the standings for the...
Freezing cold take.
Yeah, it's just the standings for the Big Sky Conference. Dang it, I thought that was doing pretty good there.
Shout out the Big Sky.
September 30th was the last poll, so that probably was the most recent one here. Idaho was number 10 in the country. They were up at number 7 when Oregon played them. So
that's a playoff team.
Still a good team, but they were previously number 4 before the loss to UC Davis. So
where are the Aggies?
UC Davis is number 9.
Okay.
They're just ahead of Idaho.
And they have one loss, and I think that one loss was Cal.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if it was Cal, but they do have just one loss, so I'm going to take your word for that.
It was Cal.
Okay, there you go. Northern Arizona not in the rankings currently, so hopefully Idaho can
Lumberjacks.
Hopefully Idaho continue to boost Oregon's BCS rankings by getting a win and helping Oregon's strength of schedule.
If they want to find a good lumberjack, come to Roseburg, Oregon.
Who are you, Johnny Cash?
Yeah.
It is the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, again, presented by BTB Moving, providing labor services for your moving needs. Veteran-owned, affordable, dependable, efficient, and careful. Senior and veteran discounts are available. Book now at 541-315-0122, or you can find them on Facebook at BTB Moving. We covered a lot of different things in hour number 1. I would say it's safe to say that probably like 75% of what we covered wasn't on the rundown to begin with.
Yeah, pretty much.
Brown sounds about right. Wanted to get to the high school football schedule here in hour number 2, but we can dig back into a little bit of college football before we get there.
I was all prepared.
Okay, here we
Joey.
go. High school football coming up tonight on your Friday night.
I figured we should start hour 2.
Let's do it. Let's do that.
I mean, we talked a little bit about this yesterday on the Friday night pregame show presented by Mountain Mike's, which actually aired on a Thursday.
I was going to say, yeah.
Very, very odd this week, Roseburg playing on a Thursday, but nonetheless, it results in us allowing us the time here today on the Umpqua Basin Tailgate show to talk about some of these matchups in Douglas County. And, I mean, there's a lot of really good matchups this week. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, and I guess we have a little bit more time today. But I think the one that I want to start with is just the smaller schools. Days Creek at C.S. Lewis Academy. What an awesome opportunity for them at George Fox University.
Yeah, I actually was at George Fox University not that long ago. I got a chance to call a game up there for George Fox football. Fantastic facility, nice stadium, great field, great environment, great location, and they're going to be playing some six-man football there. Now, what I wonder is maybe C.S. Lewis Academy plays all their games there. I'm not really sure on that, but for Days Creek, a team that plays their football games on a grass field that has the river running alongside of it, a big old hillside on one side where fans get to sit up on top of the hill and watch down with their stadium view from up top. Like, this will be, I'm sure that, well, actually, I don't even know. I was going to say, I'm sure some of these Days Creek guys have played in different stadiums, like maybe like a turf field or something. But, like, I don't know. Maybe this will be the first time playing on turf for Days Creek.
How close to the river is the field?
Like it's not like right next to it. But
like is there the possibility
you could walk over there? But I don't think the football is going to roll into the river.
Oh, I was going to say, is there a possibility you get shoved out of bounds the next thing you know you're swimming?
I would think you would really have to like have an errant pass, or you really lost your balance to get out.
Can we have like the arena football thing, like walls on the side? They flip over the wall, and next thing you know, they're like tumbling down into the river.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're getting quite that badly, but. I mean, it's look here. I just pulled it up on Google Maps.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's
pretty close.
It's not that far away,
there's some
but it's
trees
close enough
to like stop you.
Yeah, but it's right there, and then you got the hillside here on this sideline where people all park up top and watch from up there.
Do I have it wrong? Is it 80 yards for six-man football?
No, it's a 100-yard field.
Wow,
but they narrow it. So what's really weird, so six-man football, I got a chance, I've actually called the first 2 years of state championships for the six-man football for the OSAA, and I can't remember if they've done, I think they've done both of them over at, maybe last year it was at Cottage Grove. Too many games, too many places, I can't, I'm not Dan Bain, I can't keep them all straight. But they did one at Caldera one year, and it's so weird because the teams are standing in the playing field for what is a normal-sized football field. The sideline runs in the middle of the playing field. So everybody's standing on the other side of the sideline, and you're like, just doesn't look right. They're all in the field. Why are they standing out there? And then you remember, oh, yeah, it's a narrower field, and it's first down and 15 in six-man football.
How do they, do they draw a line on the
They
field?
must have some sort of marking. I can't remember.
Is it like they have to play between the hashes? Is it that narrow?
No, it's not quite that narrow, but I think that some like newer fields have like turf field, because out at Caldera, it's a new school, and I think they might have a line already kind of set up for it. So, and I don't know if it's like maybe the same size as a soccer field or, the sidelines on a soccer field. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do know it's narrower, and but it is still 100 yards, and it's first down and 15. The other fun thing about six-man football, the quarterback cannot run if he's the first person. Like the first person to get the ball after the snap cannot run forward past the line of scrimmage. Yeah, a lot of teams will snap it to a back or to somebody, and then that person hands it off to the quarterback, who has the option to likely pass or run the football at that point, because there has been a handoff. It's a unique version of football. It is fun, and it's great to see that it has been adopted here, because it is allowing programs like Days Creek was kind of on the brink. They were really struggling to get kids to come out for it. And at the at that small school level, like when you've got 40 kids in your school, if you have a graduating class and maybe, for some reason an incoming class was mostly girls, your opportunity to be able to field a football team really can struggle. And so it's great to see that it is helping out some of the small rural schools in Oregon to be able to continue to play football. And I think some schools have really adopted it and really taken to it. And it's a lot of fun, though. It's backyard football at its finest. So
that sounds exciting.
But Days Creek, going to be a cool opportunity for them to go up to. Now, that's a football field at George Fox. Like, I think at the college level they don't really have them like multi-use fields as much as you might have at a high school. So I don't really know what the answer is on how they mark the sidelines on a field where they don't have those markings already on there. So could be interesting, but it's going to be a great experience to go and play at a pretty cool venue for Days Creek.
100%. Looking at some other small schools, Prospect Charter, Butte Falls at Glendale, Riddle at Chiloquin, and Yoncalla at number 3, Cross Point Christian.
Yeah, 8-man football coming up tonight. Big test there for Yoncalla. Mohawk and North Douglas.
That's the one that I wanted to highlight.
That's going to be a big one.
Game.
North Douglas has looked really good. They're ranked number 4 in the coaches poll. Actually, I was going to look. They just came out with the new one today, and this is what we don't always get a chance to talk about on the Friday night pregame show that we have to pre-record. And so now that we're live and we got time and aren't rushing out to a football game, let's get into it. North Douglas does stay at number 4 this week.
Man.
So, yeah. Cross Point Christian, who we were just mentioning, they stay at number 3. You've got Adrian, Crane, Cross Point, and North Douglas, your top 4, and then Powder Valley at number 5. So a number of undefeated teams still left at that 8-man level. Mohawk actually from number 10 up to number 8.
Wow, and they're 3-2.
Yeah, we are looking at a big matchup there between number 4 North Douglas and number 8 Mohawk.
Hunter Vaughn. That 2 words.
That
That's
guy.
He is that guy.
He's him.
He is him. If you don't know about Hunter Vaughn, you got to know about him.
Yeah.
He scored 7 touchdowns in a quarter.
Yeah.
And
he is doing it in all facets, offense, defense, and special teams. He's just a scoring machine. I would have to go back and actually add it up by reading the game recap stories on what he's done, but like his touchdown numbers already have to be like probably 20 plus already this year, easily.
Like in total touchdowns.
4 games and already.
Plus, he's got to be stoked that hunting season's coming up. He's a big hunter.
Yeah, I
literally his name is Hunter, and he is a hunter.
I asked Ryan Fullerton from Oakland about that in our interview that we had this week on Wednesday night on DC Sports Spotlight. And hey, you getting ready for hunting season? Are you a hunter? I went to go look for a photo of him to try and post on the social media stuff that we use to promote the show coming up. And a lot of times I'll end up on Instagram looking at these kids' feed to see if they have a photo of themselves playing their sport that I can steal. Nope, first thing I saw, him out in the woods hunting. I was like, I think I was right on target on asking him about that. So hunting season around here, it's just always, being in the fall, it's always tough to mix in fall sports and hunting season. But I got a feeling that a lot of kids around here, they don't have much of a problem
God
doing
forbid they play college football in the middle of hunting season.
I know, right? I'm going to miss the freaking... No. Thankfully, technology has gotten pretty good. And you know what? 92.3 FM comes in pretty good out in the wilderness. So if you are driving around in the woods and you're trying to find some sports coverage, we might just be the place to look to for you to be able to find coverage of the Beavers. Or if you got a cell signal, you can use the 541 radio app to listen to the games this weekend. So there you go.
Ducks game on News Radio 93.9 FM and 1240 KQEN.
Yep, coming up
That's
tonight.
happening tonight. 4 p.m. pregame, 6 p.m. the game.
Yeah.
Exciting.
What are you doing? Well, we'll get to that later. Let's get back to our high school football schedule. So North Douglas and Mohawk, that's going to be a highlight one there. It's at Drain, so if you're up for a little bit of travel, if you're here in the Roseburg area like we are, and you're looking for maybe something to do, that could be a really fun game to get to. 8-man football also really exciting with a lot of scoring,
and you can see Hunter Vaughn.
You can see Hunter Vaughn in person.
The Ashton Genty of
he might melt your face, but
9-man football.
the Heisman frontrunner at 8-man football, dude, Hunter Vaughn.
Did you see this? I don't know if you saw it, but Ashton Genty, his rushing yards prop this week for over-under is over 100 yards more than Alex Orgy's passing yards prop.
Wow.
Isn't that like a running back having 100 more yards rushing over-under more than a quarterback at a Power 5?
Do you know what the number is off the top of your head?
I think like it was crazy. Like I think it's like 176 or something.
Is his number for over-under rushing.
Yeah, last week it was like 178 and it hit over.
That's like when you see it like the early season games in college football where it's like Oregon versus Sisters of the Poor and you're favored by like 45 points and you're like, that's a huge number, but you know when like Alabama's facing Chattanooga in week 8 of the season and you're like, yeah, they're going to be favored by 50. It's a huge number, but they might just do it.
Dude, he is over under 188 and a half yards rushing.
188?
188 over under rushing yards. And this is the crazy one. He's minus 330, 2+ touchdowns.
Like it's just an automatic. Like it's a given.
Yeah. That's
wow. That is.
It just shows the type of season that Ashton Genty's had. In 3.5 games, 845 yards, 13 touchdowns.
Dang. I mean, the Heisman Trophy race is going to be kind of interesting this year because you've got candidates from some non-traditional spots that are really starting to get a tidal wave of momentum behind them, with Ashton Genty from Boise State being one. As much as I kind of hate to give it any sort of credence, Travis Hunter from Colorado, that whole program just kind of irks me. But, I mean, what he does on a football field is very impressive. And his team is starting to win some games, you know? I mean, that to me is always the biggest thing.
He's playing both ways. That's the impressive thing.
Yeah, that is real. And he's more than just playing, but like he's excelling at playing both ways.
He's elite on both sides.
And he's almost playing like every snap of a game.
Yeah. Sorry, just go back real quick on Genty. So last week his over-under was 183 yards. He went over that by 80 yards last week.
He is averaging 211 yards per game rushing.
He's averaging over 10 yards per carry. He is literally he's literally a first down machine.
And he's getting the football nearly 21 times a game.
That's normal.
And that's not a huge number.
That's not that's I
mean, it's up there. It's among the leaders in the nation, but that's not uncalled for a running back.
For a run first team?
Yeah.
Like that's not outrageous.
The according to collegefootballstats.com, 25.75 attempts per game, leading the way, Texas Tech Taj Brooks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 20 and a half carries per game for Genty right now. So, but I mean, why would you not feed him the ball? Look what he's doing.
Can we just talk about what you just said? A running back from Texas Tech leading the country in carries per game.
The days of the air raid are apparently gone and forgotten.
You know, they're really following Matt Watson's style.
The former Texas Tech Red Raider student, not a football player.
Yeah.
That's crazy on Ashton Genty, by the way, for Boise State there.
Hunter Vaughn, though, the Ashton
Genty of Douglas County football.
Believe
it too.
No,
and
but that's literally what it is.
That's not out of the realm of that's not a wild statement to be made.
Yeah.
Where we got here next? We got 9-man football.
Yeah, other games happening this week. Oakland, number one.
Number one.
Yeah, number 1 and 2.
Knight Jarecki's number 1 ranked Oakland Okers.
Oakland Okers.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Coach Ben Lane.
You know, the Raiders may have left Oakland, but the Okers never left Oakland. They've always been there.
They've always been there, just not the one you're thinking.
Yeah.
They're on the road at Gold. JV's going to be in by the second half. the freshman team, they don't have a freshman team. They're going to be in by the fourth quarter. So,
Glide at Regis?
Gold Beach 0-4. So, Oakland continues to roll. But a chance for them to continue. One thing, health. And every football team needs it. They suffered a loss on their offensive line last week. One of their players breaking their leg. And so, you just got to stay healthy. And that's why I think you probably need to get that score big by the end of by halftime and let your JV keep getting snaps. And that's why Oakland continues to be a state title contender, is they get games where they get the JV in there to play varsity snaps against other teams. So Glide at Regis. This one's an interesting one here. Regis and Glide, that game wasn't originally on the schedule. Glide was scheduled to play Sheridan, a team that's playing an independent schedule this year. And I looked at their schedule. They got 2 games that are canceled. One is the one against Glide this week, and then one in a future date down the line that they already have canceled. So not sure the whole story behind that one, but a little bit of a late change. Nice that Glide was able to find an open date for somebody else. I mean, at this point in the season, I don't know when this change was made, but it's not necessarily always easy if you've got a sudden change in your schedule to find somebody else to play. But should be a good one. 2-2 teams. Regis has been a program that they've been good in a lot of different sports. I'm not sure exactly in football their history on that one, but
they produced a CFL MVP, MOP, CFL MVP of the Grey Cup, and a CFL All-Star in Travis Lulay.
That's pretty crazy.
It is.
I mean, the CFL, I know, is an afterthought for a lot of American football fans. Not that they shouldn't be. I mean, it's football. It's entertaining. You get real athletes up there.
It's a different type of football, and that's my biggest gripe, because I am a CFL fan. Is that a lot of Americans and a lot of even Canadians in Canada that watch the NFL say, "Oh, well, it's just not as good as the NFL." Well, it's completely different than the NFL.
Yeah,
it's like comparing 6-man football to 11-man football. Like it's
different.
It's a completely different game. It's 3 downs. The clock stops after every down. It creates a lot of very exciting end of game sequences. You have a rouge in play, and the field's wider. You're like
you got different words apparently with this game.
Do you know what a rouge is?
I know what the Moulin Rouge is.
Do you want to take a guess what a rouge is?
Is it like a fake?
No.
Like some sort of scheme to deceive your opponent?
No. So what it is, a rouge is 1 point. You can get 1 point in the game, and it's not like an extra point.
Oh, so it's like a loony.
That was good. No, so in the CFL, every ball is live. There's no such thing as a fair catch. Like, you can't fair catch in the CFL. And so what happens is, if you miss a field goal per chance, right? The end zones are 20 yards deep.
And the goalposts are at the front.
And the goalposts are at the front. So if you miss a field goal,
you can stand behind the field goal post and field it and try to return it?
That's what you have to do.
What if you don't field it and it like goes out of bounds?
Then you get a point. The team that misses the field goal gets a point, and that's what it's called.
What?
It's called the rouge.
The more you know.
Yeah, and actually this got into a lot of controversy, not necessarily controversy, but the Toronto Argonauts, they won a game. It was tied like 30-30. They missed the field goal, but the kick went so far, it went out of bounds, and so they won the game on a missed field goal because they got a point for the rouge.
Like that feels like a strategy. Like if you got a guy with a big leg, but it's a long field goal that you can't quite.
You just can't hit the uprights.
It's a long field goal, so your chances of actually making it are not great. But you got a guy with a big boot that could at least kick it out of the back of the end zone. Like that's.
And sometimes it's funny too, because like you'll see teams try to get the rouge, and so like they'll kick it, and then the team's just like trying to get the ball out of their end zone, so they'll punt it back like the other way, and then the team will try to punt it back into the end zone. So it's
this sport of yours is a little wacky here.
It's different. It's different. That's the thing, and it's very exciting. The more you watch it, the more that you love it. And it's just different. The field's bigger. It creates more explosive plays. There's a lot more passing focus because you only have 2 downs to try to get a first down. I guess you have 3 downs, but you take away that 3rd down opportunity to convert. 2nd downs, you're technically like 3rd down, and so there's that. It's fun. It's fun, Joey.
We have really covered the gamut here today. We really have just been all over the map. This is what comes with just a few hours of sleep.
Joey, hear me out. Let me tell you. You're walking down Costco, and you can buy a ticket to CFL game.
If Costco is selling CFL tickets, I'm probably buying. When is the CFL season?
It's now.
Right now?
Yeah. So
right,
it goes from like May till November. So November 17th is the Grey Cup this year. So it's getting down to the end of it. There's about 4 weeks left, and then postseason.
Maybe here in a week or so, you got to invite me over for a game. And, you
absolutely.
can teach me all the finer points of the CFL.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
And you know what my favorite part about the CFL is watching like former college football players that you just loved but had no chance at the NFL just kind of succeed.
Yeah.
Like right now, Dylan Mitchell's playing in the CFL.
Oh, nice.
Dylan Mitchell is a really good wide receiver for my Edmonton Elks. Jeremiah Mazzoli has been a staple in the CFL for years.
There was Vernon Adams. He's been great up there. Former Oregon Duck as well.
Vernon Adams was a starting quarterback in the CFL. He actually just lost his job to Nathan Rourke.
That name's familiar.
Yeah, the name is familiar because Nathan Rourke is a Canadian. He's from Oakville, Ontario. He played at Ohio University, went to the CFL after getting no NFL interest, won the MOP as the best player in the CFL, then got signed to the Jacksonville Jaguars, then played for the Falcons and Patriots, just got cut the preseason, and after getting cut in the preseason, BC re-signed him, and they immediately started Rourke over Vernon Adams. And Vernon Adams has a lot of trade buzz right now, but if you're BC, it's like, why would you trade him? Because what happens if Rourke gets hurt, then you'd rather have Vernon Adams as your backup QB. And Calgary's like right now in a tussle because they have quarterback injuries and they just don't have a back. You're laughing. So
I'm just thinking like we have been through Costco. We have been talking about cleat fashion, shoe fashion, and now we are breaking down the CFL. This show has gone completely directions I never even had in my universe.
They tailgate in CFL games.
That's great to hear. I'm not upset with it. I'm just laughing to myself because you are breaking down CFL action, and I just never saw it coming.
Yeah. Anyways, but it's fun because there's a lot of like old college football players that you love that end up in the CFL.
Yeah, totally.
And it's cool to like see them like revamp their career and have a life. I think the biggest story is like, I mean, obviously like Warren Moon went and played in the CFL and found his way back to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But like, do you know about Damon Allen?
No.
So Marcus Allen, like the Raiders running back, his brother Damon Allen went to the CFL, and he's like one of the best Canadian football players ever. And he has a whole career. He moved to Canada. Like
he was the Marcus Allen of Canadian football?
Well, he was a quarterback.
Oh.
He won multiple like Grey Cups. Like he is a very well-known player. And if you ask a lot of CFL fans, they'll tell you about Damon Allen. And I think that's what's cool about the CFL is that like it allows for football players that don't have an opportunity in the NFL to go and be stars in another place.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Don't have to go to Europe. They don't have to go to NFL Europe. And
NFL Europe doesn't exist
anymore. I know. I'm just saying, you just don't have to make a trip across the border to the Great White North, and there you go.
Yeah.
So, let's wrap up our high school football coverage.
Sorry, back to some American football.
Back here in the dirty south of Oregon, we get back to some high school football.
Yeah.
So Glide and Regis are looking for. Hopefully, Glide can get back on track. Tough loss last week for them. 3A football, 11-man. We got a huge matchup going on there, but we got a couple of games there at the 3A level as well.
Yeah, a couple of really good ones. Douglas at Sutherland, rivalry, both 4-0. And then you also have Siuslaw Mapleton. They're 3-0 at South Umpqua, who's 3-1. These are two really good matchups happening here tonight in Douglas County.
Yeah, those will be fun ones. Siuslaw, I think, has been looking pretty good in that league. I've kind of caught a couple of things here and there about what they've had going on. And so Siuslaw looking pretty good there. Siuslaw ranked number 3 in the coaches poll right now. South Umpqua just got bumped out of the top 10 after they suffered their first loss last week. But it's at South Umpqua down in Tri-City. Hopefully Coach Stebbins can get them rolling and back up and going after a kind of a tough loss last week. But it looks like they've got a pretty significant opponent coming in here tonight. Going to be a big test there for the Lancers. And then, you mentioned it, the showdown between Sutherland and Douglas. Sutherland receiving votes in the coaches poll. They were number 10 last week. They won, but got moved out apparently. So Sutherland 4-0, Douglas off of a bye week. Going to be kind of important to note there. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this one. They'll be kicking off tonight. Dan Bain will be there for the coverage of that one. I-101 FM, 6:45 tonight. I mean, that's a noteworthy game and should be one that draws a lot of. I mean, that's probably the game of the night in Douglas County. 100%. That or North Douglas. So, two good ones, but a lot of good matchups all around. I think fans headed out to high school football games tonight are going to be treated to some pretty good games here coming up. Should be a lot of fun. All right, we once again went really long on a first segment of the hour, so we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to get a chance to we'll get back into college football.
Call us. We have tickets.
And there is that. That's right. We got some tickets to go to a Beavers game. Nobody wanted them at the end of the first hour. Maybe you're listening now and you missed our previous opportunity, so give us a call. 541-673-5551. That's 673-5551. Give us a call to go see Oregon State and Colorado State tomorrow at Reser Stadium, 3:30 kickoff. We got those for you right now. As for right now, we get you a Score Sports update with Knight Jarecki.
For your Score Sports update, I'm Knight Jarecki. Well, for a second consecutive week, the Roseburg football team rallied back from an early deficit, only to see their efforts fall just a bit short. The Indians came back from down 21-0 against North Eugene, but a third-quarter pick-six gave the Highlanders a 28-21 win last night in conference play. Luke Robbins threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for another, but he also fired 2 interceptions that helped North Eugene win its 4th straight game. The Indians fell to 2-3 on the year, and they are now 1-3 in league play. Also yesterday, the Elkton Elks didn't have enough to take down Crow in 6-man football. The Elks lost 39-25. Coming up today in football, Douglas and Sutherland meet at Sutherland High School for a battle of unbeatens. The Trojans and Bulldogs are both 4-0 to start out this year. You can listen to that game tonight on I-101. Dan Bain is going to have the call. Pre-game starting at 6:45. Game coverage will start at 7 p.m. South Umpqua has its first league game at home against Siuslaw. Top-ranked Oakland heads to winless Gold Beach. Glide has a non-league football game at Regis. And in 8-man football tonight, Glendale hosts Prospect Charter. 4th-ranked Douglas hosts number 10 Mohawk in a top 10 matchup. Riddle travels to Chiloquin. Yoncalla visits Cross Point Christian, and Days Creek will play C.S. Lewis Academy at George Fox University in Newburgh. There's also volleyball and soccer on the schedule for yesterday. You can check out the scoreboard and score recaps at 541radio.com. In local college sports, the Umpqua Riverhawks volleyball team hosts Mount Hood tonight at the UCC campus. The contest gets underway at 6 p.m. Also tonight, the Oregon Ducks are hosting the Michigan State Spartans tonight at 6 p.m. at Autzen Stadium. You can tune in for coverage starting at 4 p.m. on News Radio 93.9 FM and 1240 KQEN.
Get ready, anglers! The Southern Oregon Fly Tying and Casting Expo is coming to the Douglas County Fairgrounds this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, this event will entertain and inspire you. Enjoy live demos, visit with top exhibitors, and discover the latest gear and techniques. For more details, visit UmpquaValleyFlyFishers.org.
Whether it's across town or across the state, moving is always a chore. So let BTB Moving help with your next move. BTB Moving is a labor-only company offering statewide services such as packing and unpacking, loading and unloading, piano moving, cleaning services, and 24-hour emergency services. BTB Moving is an affordable veteran-owned company here to help with your next move. Call 541-315-0122 or find BTB Moving on Facebook. That's BTB Moving for all your moving needs.
Talking prep football, Beavers, Ducks, and the NFL. This is the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving.
Back here in the Score Sports Closet for another quality segment of radio here on the Score. It's the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show presented by BTB Movement. That was BTB Moving. I just totally ran out of breath, and then I think I almost said the wrong thing there. This is going to be a show you put on your resume reel here. Keep this one for the archives. Have some fun about this one. You've had me in stitches. That's for sure.
You know, now that you say that, if I'm ever applying for a job with TSN or Sportsnet,
you got a total I got a CFL segment.
Exactly.
For them. Perfect.
They're going to be thrilled. Actually, one more tangent. We're talking about. We were talking about college football players that we remember like a lot, and now they're like in the CFL.
Okay.
I was actually just having a conversation about this the other day with my friend Caleb, who's at Penn State, and we were talking about Tommy Stevens. Do you remember Tommy Stevens?
That name feels familiar.
So he was like the backup to Sean Clifford.
I was gonna say Penn State. Okay.
Yeah, so this is again because I was talking to my friend Caleb at Penn State. So he was the backup to Sean Clifford at Penn State, and he was actually ahead of Will Levis in the depth chart. It just shows you how bad Will Levis was. I don't know who convinced.
Thanks for that note.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to bring this up, because I was like, I don't know how Will Levis convinced people that he was like competent enough to be an NFL quarterback.
I mean, he had a good year at Kentucky, right?
No, not really. I don't think he's ever been good. I think that people get enamored because it's like, wow, he can throw a tight spiral with like a dress, or I guess not a dress shirt, a dry fit shirt on and some shorts. Like, man, it looks really good coming out of his hand.
He looked good in the underwear Olympics.
Yeah.
The combine.
Yeah. And then they were like, maybe just putting mayonnaise in coffee is that special ingredient. Anyways, to get back on track, Tommy Stevens is like playing in the CFL.
Why get back on track?
Because Tommy Stevens is playing in the CFL right now, and it's like, how did he make it to the CFL? He was like the Lion quarterback. He was like the poor man's Taysom Hill at Penn State, and he's now in the CFL, and that's why it rocks, Joey.
Well, I look forward to it.
I look forward to the Will Levis era in the CFL.
When I get back from hunting, you're going to introduce me to the greatness that is the CFL.
Yes.
CFB, college football action coming up this week. We've kind of tried to dive into this.
Can I go back full circle?
Sure, why not? Let's do it.
So we wanted to talk about what happened in that game that Colorado State ignored because in their game notes.
Yeah. So to let the viewers know that weren't with us for hour number 1, Oregon State's game notes list Oregon State as 1-2 against Colorado State, their opponent this weekend. Meanwhile, Colorado State says in their game notes for the week, we're undefeated. We're 2-0 against Oregon State. This is only the third time we're going to play the Beavers.
Yeah.
Who's right?
So the answer is Oregon State's right. They did meet back in 1962. That was the first meeting between the two schools. It was in Corvallis. 1962. To put it nicely, it was horrendous for Colorado State. They went 0-10 that season. Oregon State, on the other hand, it was a great year for them. They went 9-2, and this is the weirdest part. They won the Liberty Bowl 6-0 against Villanova to finish the season 9-2. They finished number 16 in the rankings, and the best part about it, they had Terry Baker, who won the Heisman Trophy in 1962 for the Beavers, ended up being the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft in 1963 by the Los Angeles Rams. He's from Portland, went to Jefferson High School, then went to Oregon State, and even more full circle, played for my Edmonton Eskimos.
Oh, back to the CFL. I think you're going to have the fans loving the CFL by the time we are done.
I hope that there's some people here in Douglas County that decide to watch some CFL games.
So
No,
go ahead.
You can watch CFL for free in the U.S., which is very nice. You just have to go online, you put in your email for CFL Plus, and you can watch almost every single CFL game.
The Super Bowl will be in early February. When did you say the Grey Cup is?
November 17th.
Okay. Cool. It's going to fall within, because we're going to be doing the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show till February, and so it'll fall. We'll get some good Grey Cup Cup breakdown.
Also, like the Grey Cup has like some great halftime performers. Like this year, it's the Jonas Brothers, which is great. Last year it was Green Day.
Jeez.
The year before that, Jordan Davis was the one. The year before that, the Arkells and the Lumineers. Arkells is a very big Canadian band.
Okay.
Keith Urban the year before that. Wow. Shania Twain, Fall Out Boy, Imagine Dragons. Like they have some good halftime shows.
Is
for
the Grey Cup like, I know it's like the equivalent of the Super Bowl in the fact that it's the championship game for the league, but like, is it, like the Super Bowl Sunday is practically a holiday in America.
Yeah.
Is the Grey Cup similar like that? Like, outside of the game itself, like, is it as big of a deal in Canada as the Super Bowl is in America?
Kind of, yeah. It has like a whole week of festivities. Like it's like a whole week build up, and there's a lot of excitement and a lot of there's like a parade that goes on beforehand. And it is like I think Canadians do watch the Grey Cup. Like if they're not watching CFL, I think they will watch the Grey Cup.
Like if they're just a casual fan, or they're not really a fan of it, but they still like people watch the Super Bowl that don't watch any football all season long. Same kind of deal.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
Interesting.
But I think it's very entertaining. It's a different type of football. If you're going to go in and expect this to be the NFL, then it's not for you. It's a different type of football, and it's fun.
Okay. All right. There we go. If you didn't know, Knight is partly Canadian, so we don't hold it against him, and he's bringing us
I hope not.
He's bringing us a whole new level of understanding of things from the Great White North.
I will say, like the Stanley Cup is obviously a better comparison of what the Super Bowl is. Like Stanley Cup watch parties in Canada are massive.
I could see that. Yeah.
And also, I think like the bigger one really is the World Juniors. That is like the biggest event
For
every
hockey?
year, every
World
year.
Juniors hockey, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, do you know about the World Juniors?
I know nothing.
So the World Juniors is like each year the best 19-year-olds and younger play in this tournament, and it's countries from around the world. And this is an opportunity for these players to actually get to represent their country, because right now the NHL doesn't allow their players to play in the Olympics, and the World Cup of Hockey is not really a thing. And so this is really exciting because a lot of these kids are like the first-round picks or the top prospects overall. And so you're getting to see them on a big, larger ice because international competition is larger ice. And they're just fast, like really, really fast because they're really young. And so it's really raw. And it's very exciting. And it's cool because each year it happens around Christmas time. Like the first game is traditionally on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. And then it goes until like the first week of January. And it's games every single day. You know, U.S. is in it. Canada's in it. Germany's normally sometimes in it. Czechia, Switzerland. Like it's a big tournament.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch every year, and that is a big event. Like some of my most amazing memories as a kid are watching the World Juniors with my family all huddled around. Like we used to do this thing in my family. I have a big family in Canada. For Boxing Day, we'd all rent out like the town hall. Like we had a big town hall in town.
Wow.
Grew up in rural Ontario. Or I didn't grow up. My mom grew up in rural Ontario, but everybody around just kind of rented out the local town hall. And there's this memory I have of everybody. It was like probably like 2006, 2007. Like I was like 5 years old. We had one of those big box TVs, and it was like in the corner, and it was like 30 of us all huddled around this like one little box TV watching Canada versus the U.S. on Boxing Day. And that's a special moment.
Well, there you go. Okay. Well. It has been an educational program for us here today. I think we get one of those IE logos in the corner of the show this afternoon as we are teaching you all sorts of new things from fashion to shopping to Canada. We got you covered. We'll get into Ducks and Beavers. Sooner or later, it's going to have to happen, right?
We got to talk about the Ducks, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk Ducks and Beavers. We'll get there.
Well, the Ducks play tonight.
They do play tonight, so let's talk about them in our next. Let's try to get back on track with the clock. We'll take a break. We'll have a good final segment. We'll talk college football. Let's go. Get you ready for Ducks tonight, Beavers tomorrow. We'll get that going. Hey, congrats to Cody. He got in touch with us. He's going to be the winner of our Beaver tickets today. Congratulations, Cody. Enjoy the game coming up tomorrow when the Beavers host the Rams there at Research Stadium. We'll be back. We'll take a quick break, and we'll get into kind of what's coming up for tonight, tomorrow, the weekend, getting you into all the games coming up here as we pack it in and get ready to break up this tailgate and start getting into some football. It's up when we come back here on the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show presented by BTB Moving.
A stove from Fisher's Hearth & Home will keep you toasty warm during the cold season. A new addition from Saving Grace Pet Adoption Center would love to be kept warm too. Hi, I'm Barbara from Fisher's Hearth & Home, and we are proud to sponsor the Saving Grace Pet of the Week.
Hey everyone, this is Sin from Saving Grace Pet Adoption Center. Perry the dog has been with us for almost a year now, but we know his forever family is out there somewhere. This sweet, affectionate guy is just waiting to fill your life with love and joy. Imagine Perry by your side. Whether it's enjoying your morning coffee on the porch or snuggling up at night, he'll be your constant source of comfort. Perry loves long walks and exploring new places, turning every stroll into an adventure. Come meet Perry today. You just might be the one he's been waiting for.
Whether it's a wood, pellet, gas, or electric stove, indoor or out, Fisher's Hearth & Home has the right stove for you. Call our family at 541-672-0306. For a cozy companion to be by your side and enjoy the fire with you, visit Saving Grace Pet Adoption Center in Roseburg or visit savinggracepetadoptioncenter.org.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Since 1889, Oregon Elks Lodges have served communities across our state, from groundbreaking research and therapies at the Oregon Elks Children's Eye Clinic to assisting youth and homeless veterans. Elks members contribute millions of dollars a year to support those in need and to promote a brighter future. Visit OregonElks.org to learn more and find a lodge near you to help us write the next chapter of giving back to communities in Oregon. This message sponsored by the Oregon State Elks Association, the Oregon Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Look for the news review at the Umpqua Valley Farmers Market this Saturday. While you shop and appreciate the hard work of our local farmers, artisans, crafters, and more, you can also get familiar with the bounty of local news, sports, and special events that matter most to you, all in one easy access place. Stop by the News Review booth for your complimentary copy of the News Review. We'll see you at the Umpqua Valley Farmers Market in the First United Methodist Church parking lot off Harvard in Roseburg this Saturday.
From the Score Sports Closet, this is the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show, presented by BTB Moving.
This has been one for the books. We've had some good shows on the airwaves from the throughout the years. This one's definitely going to be a memorable one. I think
this is one of them.
I think I'm going to have to spend some time digging back through this one to find some probably some good material.
There's a lot of good sound bites.
Yeah, I feel like there probably should be. All right.
Yeah, you got to cut the one. I don't care about your health.
I think I had it marked on the recording for I think when we got into the Costco fashion talk in hour number 1. I think definitely that will find its way into some sort of cut at some point in time going forward. But yeah, it's been a good show.
Yeah,
good show. Good conversation here. Appreciate you for tuning in and joining us throughout today's program. We are on for 2 hours on Fridays from noon to 2, talking usually football here on the program, and but sometimes we digress and have a little bit of fun here on this show. But I did want to talk about these games coming up because we've touched on them plenty of times. We haven't really dug into them much, and just giving some thoughts here as we wrap up the program. Oregon and Michigan State tonight, and we heard Coach Lanning in hour number 1 talking about the similarities of Jonathan Smith at Oregon State versus Michigan State. And, I mean, he brought along a lot of Oregon State guys with him to Michigan State. You were watching some Michigan State highlights the other day.
Yeah.
What'd you see? What'd you see about this MSU team?
Very similar to what we saw
Really?
at Oregon State. Yeah, it was a lot of stretch runs. Like, that's what I was watching. Aiden Childs, obviously, is going to be the quarterback for Michigan State. But it is a lot of similarities from what you saw, and I guess that makes sense offensively. Coach Lanning talked a little bit about how it's different defensively, but that kind of makes sense too because Trent Bray is at Oregon State. He brought Brian Lilligren to Michigan State with him, and you bring the offensive line coach to Michigan State with you. So the offense looks very, very similar. There's a lot that Michigan State does that is similar to what Oregon State wanted to do last year. The big difference, though, is just Aiden Childs. He just needs to protect the ball. He has 9 interceptions this season. That's tough.
Yeah.
He's completing about 56% of his passes, and he looked good last year in the limited action. And it was like every third drive, he would get into the game. Also, shout out Jonathan Smith. Heck of a job on DJ Uyunglele last year.
Yeah, that's looking like a huge coaching job.
That is a massive coaching job. I mean, to get 10 wins out of DJ, Coach Smith, congratulations.
He is conveniently benched at Florida State now with a finger injury. I mean, might be real.
Dude, he wants to play in that game so bad. They're playing Clemson. You don't think that DJ wants to play against Clemson?
Fair point.
He really wants to play in that game.
Fair point.
That's tough for him. But no, it is a lot of similarities. They do have some explosive players. It looks like Nick Marsh is going to play today, who's one of their top returning wide receivers. But Oregon's going to have to force a lot of pressure, control the run game. They did a good job of that last week against UCLA. I think the Bruins only had like 45 rushing yards last week. Oregon did a good job with the rushing game defensively, and that's what they're going to have to do today because this is a team that's going to want to run first, open up the play action, and try to expose the defense and keep them balanced. But at the same time, like, Dan Lanning knows Jonathan Smith. Jonathan Smith knows Dan Lanning a little bit. He's beaten Dan Lanning before.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a tussle. Oregon didn't get back until late Sunday morning, and then you have the short week.
Early Sunday morning, late Saturday night.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a short week, very condensed. They only practiced in full pads once this week. But at the same time, it's also a short week for Michigan State. And that trip from East Lansing to
Here
Oregon.
we get to see the first time that a Midwest team has to come on out to the West Coast to Autzen Stadium and make that trek as a league opponent.
Well, and the other thing, too, is like the game's late. Like, let's see. What's
6 o'clock kickoff time here. Michigan would be, I believe, Central time zone?
Lansing right now is 3 hours ahead. So they're playing this game.
4 o'clock out there?
4:49.
4:49? Wow.
So
okay,
so 9 o'clock game.
Yeah.
That's late.
And that is one of the things that I'm curious to see how these things continue to progress and, like, how do teams continue to address that travel aspect? Do teams start traveling a lot earlier in the week to try and get accustomed to the time zone they're in? I'm just kind of curious on how teams look to try and address that cross-country travel. So,
because I feel like you probably have. I feel like if you're Michigan State, you had to be here yesterday.
I would have assumed so, something like that. Oregon is pretty heavily favored in this one, by the way. They are 23.5-point favorites.
Ooh.
So before we jump towards Oregon State, I'm curious. Like, Oregon's just been in a lot of close games. I know last week they really, minus a pick six that was just kind of a fluke play. Like, that game was probably a little bit more out of hand against UCLA last week. But I don't know. 23.5 feels like a big number to me. I don't know if I would take that number.
It is. And the other thing, too, of note
or lay those points
is that Michigan State actually did leave yesterday. But the big thing for me is that, you know what happened on Monday?
No.
Classes started. Oh. It is the first week of classes. You have a late night on Sunday.
Or late night Saturday.
Early morning on Sunday.
Just a gruel of a day on Sunday.
And then you kind of have to bounce back quickly, look at some film, and then you have to go to class on Monday. Like, these players for the first 4 weeks of the year, first 4 games of the year, they didn't have to think about classes.
Yeah.
That wasn't in their minds.
Meanwhile, Michigan State's probably been back to class for a while now.
Yeah. Oregon's on the quarter system.
We're always starting late out here. Yeah, that's a fair point.
And so, I mean, shoot, some kids might actually have class today.
Could you imagine? I mean, in high school, that's what you do, but could you imagine in college football? Yeah, I got to go to sociology class. I'll be back, guys. I'll see if I can make it in time for getting my pads on for the game here this evening. I'm sure that they've got some sort of
the attendance is through the roof.
Some sort of system working out. You were asking, we were up in Eugene last night and got to see some of your friends that are still students there at U of O. And you were asking if they were canceling classes for a Friday.
Yeah,
doesn't sound
no.
like they are.
No,
no, sorry, you gotta those professors. They're not fans of the team.
If this was the Ohio State game on a Friday,
yeah, that might be a different story.
They might cancel classes.
Yeah, Oregon State tomorrow. They're taking on Colorado State. Oregon State is an 11-point favorite in that one, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier. You thought I might not be giving them enough credit for Colorado State, but I think this is one Oregon State. I mean, Oregon State's not an offense that's necessarily built to win by big margins. They want to control the clock, which they've done really well doing. But the quarterback for Colorado State, I was looking, he's thrown like 5 interceptions or 7.
He's having a down year.
He's having a tough year in his second year
starting.
But
Torrey Holton's kind of going to be back, and he's a really good wide receiver. Yeah. And even though the quarterback's thrown 5 interceptions, he also was preseason All-Mountain West.
Yeah,
like he had a good year last year. He has some capabilities. And you talk about like just trying to control the clock. I think that the Beavers, like run game's certainly their strength. Like the Beavers are number 7 in the country right now, but Colorado State has been relatively successful in stopping the run this season, averaging just 113.5 yards per game allowed defensively. The Beavers, they're rushing for 267.8 rushing yards per contest, which is about what Ashton Genty gets in a game.
That guy is crazy.
He's crazy.
I don't know.
No, but that's the thing. It's like it's Colorado's strength versus Oregon State's strength.
Yeah. Home game at Reser Stadium, afternoon kickoff. The fans will have time to lubricate themselves, get those juices flowing, and that they will lubricate themselves with some adult beverages.
Okay.
They're not slathering up in KY. Don't get gross. Come on, man. They will. I think the atmosphere will be good out of a bye week for Oregon State. I think I have faith in the Beavers to cover that 11-point. I think is what I would take. I would lay the points with the Beavers. I would take the points with Michigan State.
I would take Ashton Genty rushing yards over that.
Yeah. You would rather, instead of laying 11 points with the Beavers, you would take over 188 yards rushing for Ashton Genty?
Absolutely.
Who are they playing this week? Boise State?
Let's see. I looked this up the other day, and like their rushing defense was like really bad.
Oh, God. That might explain a lot of it.
Dude, he is a highlight reel. Like, just watching him. They're playing Utah State.
Oh, okay.
The Aggies of Utah State that are 1-3 in Boise.
In Boise City. Okay.
Yeah, and Utah State just lost at the Link in Philly, 29-45 against Temple. Blown out against Utah, lost 48-0 against USC. Yeah, this is a team that only has a win against Robert Morris. Do you even know where Robert Morris is?
Oh, good old Bob Morris. I only know that school name because of the NCAA tournament.
Okay, do you know where it is?
No clue.
It's like in the suburbs of Pennsylvania, or Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But if you're really scrapping and saying, wow, Robert Morris, the Colonials, powerhouse of NCAA football. I'm sorry, they're just not it. Utah State, not very good. I would take Ashton Genty over 188 yards.
Okay, well, we'll readdress. We'll take a look back at all of this coming up next week. It should be fun to see how that all plays out. Again, Beavers tomorrow, pregame at 1:30 here on The Score. Ducks tonight, pregame at 4 o'clock on News Radio 93.9 FM and 1240 KQEN.
What is Spartan Green?
This has been one heck of a program, and we appreciate everybody for tuning in and joining us for it here today. We'll do it again next Friday. How about that? Let's set our date and meet next Friday at noon for another episode of the Umpqua Basin Tailgate Show presented by BTB Moving. Enjoy the football, folks. Let's get to the games. It's just about time for kickoff.
Whether it's across town or across the state, moving is always a chore. So let